Good morning and welcome to this crisis averted COVID-19 webinar where we're going to be talking about stuff you should be doing, stuff you must be doing, and stuff you have to be getting on top of with passion, enthusiasm, and energy. This is going to take about 45 minutes. There's going to be some great information. Make sure you write lots and lots of notes down. This presentation is coming to you from myself, Kerry Wood, Principal of the Auckland Centre of Business Excellence, and it's been put together by such luminaries and world-class authors as Brad Sugars out of the US, some world-class coaches from Australia, and a group of us in New Zealand that support businesses in New Zealand to be the best you can be. Now, the bottom line is that this is a time when we have to be together and we have to do what we can for everybody, every business owner, every business family in the world. And what we're going to be doing here today is giving you some information. So make notes, and really at the end, we're going to have a bit of time, ask some questions. So, to make a start, the COVID-19 virus is like no other depression or recession the world has ever seen. The speed at which this has happened has been just amazing. The bottom line is that the speed of the intensity, the speed of the panic has been bigger than anything in our lifetime. We all remember where we were when Princess Diana died. We all remember where we were when the planes hit the towers in New York. This will be the same. And going forward, there will be two things we'll always remember. BC, before COVID, and AC, after COVID. It is the speed of this pandemic, of this depression, that is causing the fear. In 2008, the last global financial sort of meltdown, it took 6 or 7 months, in fact a little bit longer, for all of the financial gurus to agree that we were indeed in a recession or things were going downhill. This has hit us all together at once, and that is causing a lot of fear, a lot of panic. As a business owner, as a leader in the community, it's vitally important that we take a lead in what we're doing. Our reaction is based on the speed and not the actual intensity of this. If there was ever a slowdown, as in 2008 or 1987, it was so much slower than this to take effect. Our country was stopped in a day by decisions that the government has made, and now we as business owners, we have to move with this. We have to be very reactive. But now we have a lot more knowledge than we had back then, and a lot more technology. Imagine being in 2008 with the technology we have now. We have great technology, the GoToMeeting, the Zooms, the Google Hangouts. So that's where we have to be. This turn down requires massive action. It requires massive action from you as a business owner, from you as a business leader, and you as a family leader. The government has preempted this by giving us massive action. And the bottom line is that what we need to be doing is realizing that the government's massive action, that is, they've done subsidies and changes and the lockdown. We have to mirror that with what's going on. With the time and economic downturn, we need to move first, faster, and with no panic. So there's about 11 things I think we need to be thinking about, and we're going to go through those now. The first thing we need to be thinking about, in all honesty, is communication. What you're doing in your communication. It's vital that the communication you do is amazingly positive in what you're doing with everybody. You'll have visions and you'll have goals for your business. Don't change your goals and your visions. Always know where you're going. The goals may change in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months, but as we work through this process, keep thinking high, keep looking above the horizon for where you need to be going, and make sure that you have an absolute vision that your company, your community, you, your family are going to come out of this not only surviving, but really thriving. You've got to display passion and enthusiasm. Everyone around you will be looking to you. Don't be the negative Nelly in the room. Get stuck into this and be the person who says, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to come out of this. For a long time now in your business, I'll be prepared to bet a little bit of a bottle of wine that you've been thinking, I think we should change this, I think we should do this. Well, now's the opportunity to come out of this stronger, to come out of this a lot better. Give something a go. Do not stand still. Come straight out of adversity the right way. Remember, your 4 teams, your staff, your suppliers, your clients, and your community and family are looking to you to become stronger. Survive. Well, the first thing we've had to do is survive. And we're 2 weeks into it, and the government's helped us with a number of initiatives. But now it's time to thrive. It's time not to take advantage, but actually to take the opportunities that will be happening around you for your business, around you for yourself, around you for your community. Make sure that you are always positive in what you do and are going forward. Adopt the mindset that you will be courageous. You will make these decisions. You need to communicate with all the world and lead that this is what we're going to do, that you are the person in charge. And you have to lead all of your people. Don't leave anyone behind. Be the guy that leads from the front. Be the person who takes on board the fact that this is the biggest challenge that your business, that your community, that your suppliers, that your customers have possibly seen for some time. And you're the guy that they can rely on to do what they need to do. Positive communication all the time. Whatever you were doing pre-COVID-19, BC, before COVID, you have to do 5 or 10 times now. If you're not communicating every day with your staff, every 3 or 4 days with your clients, every week with your suppliers, you're not doing enough, and you will get left behind. You need to change your business model. Business innovation is where we are at right now. What will you be like as we go forward? What will your business be doing? Think about the formula for change. D times V plus F has to be greater than R. D is your dissatisfaction. If you're not happy with the amount of cash flow, the amount of sales, the amount of profit you can see happening right now because of the situation, then you're dissatisfied. What effect will this have on you, on your family, on your staff? Keep getting dissatisfied, because the dissatisfaction is the emotional driver. Then look at the vision. Imagine if you can change your business model to do these things, to actually achieve these sales, to use technology, to use people, to use customer service better. This will be your vision. And then there's the first steps. Actually, the first step's easy. The first step is you making the decision to make this happen and looking around you for support to make this. And it has to be bigger than the resistance. And the resistance will be your resistance to change and your people around you. But if you are a quality leader and you have a great passion and a plan, then this will not be a problem. Think of your business in 100 different ways. Every business has 100 little things to pivot. Don't look for the big pivots, like turning the whole ship or the whole Titanic around. We want 100 pivots. How are you going to do your customer service 10 times better? How are you going to do your sales 10 times differently? How are you going to do your actual technical stuff 10 times differently? How are you going to do your communication with your suppliers? How are you going to do your accounts 10 times differently? Look for 100 different pivots in every part of your business. Divide the business up into 10 sections and look for 10 pivots in every part, because every pivot will change you money. This is the opportunity. Pivot everything. What can you do using technology? What can you do using less capital to get this done? It simply can be done. Just remember, in every downturn, someone is thriving. Where are those opportunities? What could you do to be a part of that opportunity? In our world at the moment, food delivery from the supermarket or from the retailer to home has, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, as we all know, gone just through the roof. So what could we do around this? How could we maybe we could get something into that? Do you have vehicles? Do you have warehouse? Do you have people? How do you do this? Someone is thriving. How do you get to be a part of this? Who is using your services such as yours in a different way? 100 small pivots is what you have to be looking to do. And then obviously leverage and scalability. In my world, leverage is do it once and get paid forever. A best example of that is the old thing of selling a gym membership. You signed up and you got the money forever. What could you do now? What videos could you do online? What training could you do? What advice could you give? What customer service could you give that you work out, get the sale once and charge forever? And scalability obviously is the second sale costs less than the first sale, and the third sale costs less than the second. What can you do in your business that scales and is leveraged? Look at changing your business model. How do you get all of those pivots in place? Virtual is the new norm. The option to work from home when needed, or to try a different lifestyle without having to change job, is a win for everybody. Research proves that when people work at home, provided there is a plan, there is a reporting structure, and they are engaged, they are more efficient than when they work in an office. Think about this. This is what we need to be doing. Technology has to be yes. What do I mean by yes technology? I mean technology everyone understands. Whatever you use for your meeting, Software, make sure everyone's well trained. Everybody knows how to use it. It has to be yes technology. Whatever you use for your reporting, everybody has to know how to use it. Complexity is a thing of the past. Keep it simple, stupid. Make the whole thing the easiest technology you can find to make it work. Human management. Think about your human management. The human management is not so much the formal stuff, but how you manage the humanity of your business. In our little business, we have 3 huddles a week. On a Monday morning, we all get together. We have a 15-minute huddle on, actually, I have to say 5 minutes about what happened on the weekend, but then it's about what we're going to achieve this week, what's going on. Let's go forward and make this work. It's a stand-up huddle. On about Wednesday, we have the same thing. Where are we at? What's going on? How's the coffee going? That's great. And then we carry on. And then on Friday, we have another huddle. It's human management. I like to think of it as what might happen in the lunchroom of the building. You know, everyone just grabs a cup of coffee at 12:30 and you're all standing there for 5 minutes before you sit down and do whatever you're doing. Those 3 little, we call them huddles. It's bang, bang, just a chat about where we're at, but you learn so much about what's going on. What's happening with social distancing now for the next quite a long while, will be the norm. The bottom line is that the days where you walked into a meeting and gave someone a quick hug who you hadn't seen for a while, even maybe shaking hands, will become a thing that people maybe don't want to indulge in a little while. Remember this, build this into your customer service, build this into your communication, build this into your behaviors, build in this, how you sanitize things and what your company does to make this work all the time. Imagine being the tradesman that when you finish the work, you wipe everything down with a sanitized cloth. Be the leaders. Social distancing is here for a long, long time. Feeling alone. If you have a team of people and they're working at home, just remember that they will be working usually on their own. Every team leader, every manager, every business owner, every community leader should talk to all of those people one-on-one, I would suggest every day. Quick phone call. What's going on? How are you going? What's happening for you? How are you coping with that project? I think of this, if we think of the human management huddle as what happens at lunchtime, I think of the feeling alone phone call as what happens around the photocopier or what happens as you're passing in the hallway. It's more of a g'day, what's going on? Obviously, if you've got 20 or 30 people in your team, then you're not going to be able to do this way. But you push it downwards, get people to do it to 7 or 8 people, create little clusters of people talking to each other about what's going on. It's vastly, vastly underestimated, these quick chats, and very important. Then obviously the meetings, and the next 2 titles, meetings, reporting and planning, all go together, because your meetings should reflect your plan, and your plan should be reflected in your reporting. If you don't have a plan, you're planning to go nowhere. So your meeting should be structured. You need, because they'll be virtual, to have an agenda. You need, because they'll be virtual, to have an agenda that you follow right to the last letter, that you make sure happens. This is the agenda. This is what we're doing. Don't go off task. Keep it really, really simple. And obviously, because you've got a plan, the reporting will come in and push to the meetings. So you end up with a little trifecta of human interaction. You end up with the feeling alone, which, you know, as I said, I think is what you do around the photocopier, where you, hi, how are you? That's the quick one-on-ones. You move to your huddles, which are, for us, 3 meetings a week, which is 30 minutes, which is where we're at, what we're doing. I think of those as what you might have over a sandwich or a cup of coffee. And then you have your meetings, and the meetings is the grissy bit where the whole company comes together and you make this work. You cannot over communicate. You cannot over manage. You cannot over report people who are working on their own, provided you treat them as you wish to be treated, that is with respect and courtesy and empathy. These people will work better at home than they will in the office, because they're in their own space. They're enjoying what they're doing. And yes, I imagine that little percentage of freedom is good for them, and it allows them to stand up and walk around the yard. But by reporting and by planning, you will find you will get so much more out of your team than you do having them in the office. It is a great way to work. Cash is king. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king. Isn't that the truth? The bottom line is that right about now, it's a great time to cut cost and extend credit. If you haven't been now to all of your major suppliers and asked them to extend credit, do it now. Even if you don't need it, do it before you need it. Do it from a position of strength. Do it from a position where you know if you do need it, you have it arranged. Remove the stress. By talking to them now, they'll be empowered as well, and you will know and they will know exactly what's going on. It's a really great time to extend the credit and cut costs. Look at your profit and loss line by line. You know, you should have done this ages ago. That is, looked at your profit and loss and looked at all of those lines that you maybe could cut. Because you've got some people working at home now and you've got an administration team of 4 or 5, is it possible that a couple could work at home all the time? If that's possible, do you need all of that office space? If that's possible, do you need all those car parks? If that's possible, do you need all those company cars? What are you cutting costs in? What are you changing your business model to be better, to be tighter, to take advantage of this opportunity? Remember that your important suppliers and partners are just that, the important suppliers and partners. Communicate with them all the time. If you've asked them for extended credit, make sure that you do pay when you say you're going to, and communicate with them what's going on, because remember, they'll be looking to leaders like you with positive communication to know what's going on. Really work hard on making sure they are part of your inner circle. By now, you all would have applied for the government programs, the subsidies. The government's just announced a couple of days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, sorry, what's going on with banks, and they're going to help loans. Think about that. Go to your bank and look at that. It might cost you a couple of $100 to apply and get the loan that you might not need, but cash is king. If you've got 20, 30, 40, $100,000 in the bank and you don't need it, the stress it will relieve then you will have, if you don't have that and you need it, you know, it's well worth those few dollars to get done. Speak to your bank, keep them on side, and make sure you know exactly what's going on. Postpone what you can. You know, how many of us in this conversation have got a new company vehicle coming in the next 3-6 months? How many of us have talked to finance companies about a new piece of capital equipment? How many of us have looked at new IT solutions? Maybe a new staff member. If you can postpone it, if your new business model will support it, then move on. Do not do it. Postpone it until you've got hold of your new business model, until you've changed the pivots to what you're doing, until you know how many people are going to become back working in the office. I know for a fact that in my circle of friends, probably 30% of the people who are working at home do not believe they'll be going back to the office for 2 or 3 reasons. The first is they believe they're much more efficient. Second is it takes less time. And third, why would you go to the office when you and have all of that travel and all of that inefficiency when you can work it out from home? Change your cost structures. We've talked about a little bit about this, but look at your cost structures. You are a company that has so much revenue, and what are the costs underneath that? What are the costs with your go to client, with your servicing your clients, with your doing your sales? What are your costs of sales outside your costs of goods? What are your costs of technology? What are your costs in what you do that you could just restructure? Changing your cost structures doesn't mean altogether removing them, but it means looking at them, knowing exactly what's going on. What are your costs of operations? What are your break-even points all the way through? And the most important thing for cash flow management is you have to sell your way out of this. The bottom line is that you have to sell to survive. Know your break-even points. Know how much you have to sell this week, this day, this hour to break even, to be profitable. Know what you have to sell product-wise, quantity-wise, quality-wise to get through. Make sure that the sales process is empowered, communicating all the time with all of your clients. The way out of cash flow problems is to sell. Selling as much as you can to as many people as you can. Marketing must shift. The bottom line is if your marketing doesn't shift right now, you're going to not be around when we have this next conversation. I think it was Henry Ford that said if you stop marketing in a downturn, it's like slashing your tires when you want to save petrol. I think he said something like that. The bottom line is that your marketing, whatever you've been doing, what you were doing a month ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, has to change. The message has to be different. It has to be empathetic. You have to be talking about helping people make their decisions that make their lives better. Regardless of what you do, regardless of what product it is, you have to be in it for the right reasons. You have to make sure that you have major compassion for your clients and major messaging that reflects this. Customer service just has to be amazing in what you're doing, and the marketing has to reflect this. But be urgent. You want them to do it now. Even if your business is closed right now because of lockdown, communicate with the clients about how they have to make decisions now and book in now, make this happen now so they're at the front of the queue. Because when the lockdown finishes, there will be a major major tidal wave of people wanting stuff done. Imagine the people, something simple, who in the last 6 weeks, have needed a haircut. They're all going to be waiting for the people to give them haircuts. All the car servicing, all the stuff that's broken, everything that was sold out, all the plant barns and all that sort of thing, they're going to be waiting right now. And the bottom line is that you need to make sure these people have the opportunity to book in now so that they can take advantage, be first in the queue. Virtual and viral. Make sure everything you do ties into your first port of call at the moment. You need to be right on top of it with your website. If your website right now hasn't got a message of concern, compassion, and helping people, then you need to look at your website. You need to be offering things on your website that give ultimate value. The virtual way of doing it, very, very quick videos. We all have these smartphones. The videos don't have to be $10,000 productions. A video of you giving instructions of how to do this. This is something you could look at doing, how to improve this. Think about what your clients use you and use your services for, and how can you make a video that's 1 or 2 minutes that leads them down that track. How can they learn how to do something to help themselves so that they know that you care and you're empathetic about them? If you do the right sort of videos and do enough of them, then they'll become viral. And when they become viral, that's the marketing that other people are doing for you, obviously. You must do much, much more than before. Whatever you were doing in marketing 1 month, 2 months, 5 months ago, you need to be doing 3, 5, 7 times now more. Not necessarily spending 3, 5, 7 times more money, but doing 3, 5, 7 times more activity. Posting on Facebook, posting on LinkedIn, posting on WeChat, looking at YouTube, phone calls to your clients, phone calls to your prospects, emails to your clients, emails to your prospects, videos to your clients, videos to your staff. It has to work. You just have to make this so much energy. There's an old saying, if it's broken, add energy. It will either work or it will break. Well, add energy to your marketing all the time, right now. And know your numbers. In the olden days, 6 weeks ago, you might have been able to spend $5,000 on radio or on Google AdWords or on something and go, oh, well, we had a good month. You now have to know that every marketing thing you do, everything you do has a result. And when it has a result, the result is that the marketing happens this way, the sales happen this way. So you have the exact result. Just know your numbers. You've just got to know your numbers. Sales with compassion. You have to change your tone of your sales. You have to be empathetic. You have to have a serious, as I've said, customer focus in your marketing, but it's still selling. Be proud that you're selling, that you're providing a quality service, professionally helping people make decisions to use your product. You've got to really, really, really sell well and sell on purpose. What is the purpose of what you're doing? What is your purpose? If you're in this just to achieve a sale and just to make money, then you will fail. You have to be on purpose all the time. It's more important than the sale, because the clients can tell. They can tell from the language. And what you do now to take care of people, to make it empathetic, to work with them, will return you tenfold in the next period of time. The law of reciprocity says that if you give it out, you will get it back. Relationships do matter. Make it work the best you can. In our little world at the moment, we're doing so much training for our clients, for their staff, online on Zoom, because now they've got the time. One of our clients has a sales reps that are all over New Zealand. So we've just finished doing for them online a 2-day sales rich workshop. And the reason we couldn't do it 6 weeks, 2 months, a year ago is because to get all of the sales staff off the road, obviously the cost to the company was too high. So now we've had them all in doing that. We didn't charge them for that. We did this great sales course for them all. It worked really well. We're doing business management courses for our clients, and we're doing team training. But the bottom line is that the relationships matter, and we're trying to make our clients as good and as prepared as they can be. You have to do the same with your clients and with your people. You just have to make them the best they can be. Customer service for repeat business. This is where the profit is. Keep all your existing clients. If you're not communicating with all of your clients at least every week by by phone or by email, keeping them up to date with what's happening for you, and a little bit personal on what's going on, then this will not work for you. You have to keep them in line. They'll be looking for leaders, and you have to be the leader, the passionate leader, the tenacious leader, the empowered leader, the person who's telling them what's going on, that yes, you're aware that you haven't finished that job, or that that job's coming up for them, or that you've got this project. You have to be keeping your existing clients, right on board, and you have to go above and beyond with communication. If you don't speak to them today, you don't leave it till next week. You keep calling them until you speak to them. Leave them a text going, hey, I've rung you. I hope you're okay. Can you give me a call? It's about a little bit of sort of love in the conversation as well. It was quite funny. Just the other day, I was talking to our neighbour, and she's an older woman. She's not allowed out at the moment. And my family does her grocery shopping. And she came up to me, and she was 3 or 4 meters away, 5 or 6 meters away. And she went, I'm bored. And I looked at her. So we got her a chair, and we sat her on the grass, and we got her to referee a game of soccer between my family and I. And she was having a field day. You've just got to go above and beyond all the time, keeping your existing clients, really working hard, because this will build loyalty. This will build, I hate to say it, build love and build care around what you do. If you communicate positively and really, really do care, then they will not go anywhere. You know this. 92% of people who leave companies leave because they don't feel appreciated, because they don't feel that you want them there. Remember to make the virtual visible. Harry Beckworth wrote a book called Selling the Invisible, taking the invisible and making it visible. Customer service is usually invisible. Now, what that means is that people, unless you tell them, they don't get they don't get that they're getting good customer service. So make it visible. When they've got a product off you, when they've got a service off you, follow it up with a text, follow it up with a phone call. If they've booked a job for after the lockdown, follow it up with a text, follow it up with an email, follow it up with a phone call, thanking them very much. Make the customer service really visible to them so they know they're getting great customer service all the time, because these are part of the critical non-essentials, because you will become a caring, profitable, warm company to deal with that people will want to deal with. And this simply is where the profit is. Recurring clients who keep coming back, recurring clients who recommend you, recurring clients who you want to deal with, your A and B clients. These aren't the D clients that you want to get rid of. These are great people. Whatever you've been doing in customer service, you need to now times it by 10. You have to do it much, much more. Grant Cardone wrote a book called 10X. Your customer service now has to be 10X. It can't be any less than 10X to get this the right way. Get the most out of your people. Start with good people, lay out the rules, communicate with your employees, motivate and reward them. If you do all of these things, you can't miss Lee Iacocca. How true is that? These people, all of your people, are in fear, more fear usually than you are. Why? Because you have more power than they do. Because fear goes to worry, goes to negativity, and they're in fear because of the speed at which the COVID virus hit us. Unlike, as I said earlier, any of the other slight depressions or recessions, this came bang, and they don't know. If you think about what they're doing at the moment, they're in fear. The mindset is fear, and you have to turn that fear into focus. One of the things you could think about by way of fear into focus is if you're sitting under a tree and there's a tiger walking 100 meters away, you're in fear. If the tiger starts running towards you, you get focused pretty quickly on going the other way. So let's get your people focused. Set new standards for answering the phone, set new standards for doing reports, set new standards for customer service, set new standards for communication, set and live and love the standards. Just make it work. Be seen all the time to be leading these standards. Be seen running the huddles, doing the one-on-one calls, doing the customer service, looking at the cash flow, knowing your numbers. Set new standards, and everybody will come with you as a leader. And obviously, there's a little thing here where some of your people will be what you would have thought as cost centers. You might have thought the accounts area was a cost center. Well, if you do, how do you turn the cost center into a profit center? What can they do that will make this cost center a profit center? Like, for example, if how many calls could they do maybe as cold calls? What could they do? What could they do to pay their way? Think of every cost center and how much you turn it into a profit center. train and retrain. One of the things I said is we're running workshops, courses, Zoom meetings, all sorts for all of our clients. We're doing sales training for electricians. We're doing team training for engineers. We're doing a whole lot of marketing training for warehouse people. Why? Because it's training, it's knowledge, it's train and retrain. They're getting more and more in tune. We're taking their mindset and we're filling their mind with knowledge. We're filling their mind with activity. We're filling their minds with stuff they can do, they can learn, they can be better at. You know, if you take your team and you run them on a marketing course, or get us to run them on a sales course, you only need one good idea out of it. And it's paid for all of that time. And it's really, really a great way to keep them involved. It keeps their mind on the new standards and what you're doing. And it's obviously you showing a duty of care to them as people. You're really working hard to make sure that they are learning and being great people. They can see you learning, leading from the front, being positive and doing all you can. And the bottom line is that's what you have to do. This is my favorite part of where we're at, and that is building a strong mindset. There are 8 researched types of mindset: courageous, invincible, tenacious, empowered, abundant, self-love, limitless, and grateful. Every day when you get up, when you stand in front of that mirror, you need to adopt one of these mindsets and yet get this to drive you through your day. And it might change during the day, but you need to be courageous when you've got to make these decisions and when you've got to do things that you might find a little unpleasant. You've got to be invincible when you're facing the odds that are coming up, when you look at some of the things you have to do, and tenacious when you're calling your clients and when you're calling your staff. It takes time. You're empowered because when you're calling your team and when you're calling your clients, you're empowering them and they're coming with you. You need to think of yourself as abundant. Look at yourself now. You're standing there healthy and coming up really, really smelling of roses and doing this stuff. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anybody else. So you really, really got to be proud of yourself, respect yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm doing damn well here. Limitless. There are no limits to what we can achieve. There are no limits to where we can go. There are no limits to what we can learn. And be grateful. Tomorrow morning, when you get up in the morning and you talk to your kids, you talk to your wife, you talk to your people at work, just remember these people work there for you and be grateful. The 8 mindsets are just a great way to think about your life. You need to have your daily rituals every morning saying, these are the things that I want to do. These are the things I'm going to do. And these are the things I've achieved. We, as business owners, community owners, and all of that sort of thing, have to be learning and growing all the time. And the bottom line is that if you're not learning and growing, how do you lead? How do you be passionate? How do you be responsible and respectful to all the people you're leading with you? This is an opportunity, not a crisis. And the bottom line is that you have to see it as such. You have to be going forward all the time. Out of every downturn, someone does okay out of it. Be that person. Be the leader in your community. Be the leader in your industry. Be the leader in your business. Do some research on the Stockdale paradox. Jimmy Stockdale, or James Stockdale, was a prisoner of war in the Vietnam War. Actually, he was with John McCain. But do some research on the Stockdale paradox. He was a guy who worked out that you have to have absolute clarity in your short game and absolute certainty in your long game. We are certain we're going to come out of this. So the long game is we're certain we're going to come out of this, but we don't quite know when, but we're certain we're going to. And your clarity in your short game is that every day, our daily rituals, our daily numbers, our daily calls are going to get us through. So you don't know how long you're going to be doing this. Clarity in your short game, but you need to make sure you do. And every day, small wins. Every day, small wins. Make it work. Just make it be the best it can be. Look for the wins that make it happen. Plan for 90 days. You can plan to succeed and succeed with a plan. If you don't have a plan for the next 90 days, then you need to think about why you're doing what you're doing. Let's think of this as a 90-day game, 3 months. What are we going to be doing through May, June, and July? What's our communication to all of our team members, to all of our clients, to all of our suppliers? What are our learnings for all of our team members? What are our personal learnings? What are we doing with our website? What are we doing with our marketing? You need to have a plan, a real big 90-day game. What you market and what you sell in that 90 days is important, because marketing and selling is, again, a helix, isn't it? It's about the marketing, the selling, the follow-up. And remember, marketing is the communication, selling is the activity. Make it work. Make the communication the best it can be. How will you deliver and charge during this time? What are you going to do? How are you going to get your products to the client? What are you going to do? How are you going to make it different to what it was? How are you going to change up your game? I'm sorry about that. I obviously, what are you going to do to survive first and then thrive second? How are you going? You've got the survival in hand with your cash flow. You've got the survival in hand with the business support from the government. What are you going to do to thrive second? Plan for 90 days and work with a coach. If you're not working with us, that's fine. Work with a coach. Work with a mentor that can keep you accountable, that can make this work. Because if you don't make this work, now is the time to do 10x, to drive everything by 10 times. And look to invest. The stock market's down 20 or 30% at the moment if you're into that. But there'll be a lot of companies sell, because you're making a big move here. You see, you are even listening to this, so you want to get ahead. So you're prepared to do your customer service times 5, 7, or 10%, to drive your people by 5, 7, 10%, to drive yourself by 5, 7, 10 times, to drive your market, to drive your sales. So the bottom line is that there'll be companies who don't do what you're doing now. They'll be sitting there going, oh, woe is me. Don't do that. Drive this hard. Make this the best it can be, and you'll find that people will follow you, and there will be companies for sale. So think about that. Do we have the power to invest to do this? There will be customers for sale. Now, this is not customers who you might think you buy. The bottom line is that right about now, clients around you, customers around you who've used your service or used the opposition's or companies in your industry service, they may be for sale. People won't be communicating as well as you are. They won't be getting weekly emails, phone calls, and texts from their suppliers. These customers are effectively up for sale. This is why you should be investing in your marketing, not doing less, doing 5, 7, 10 times as much. This was why you have to make sure that you're communicating with everybody, spreading the word of mouth about the positive, respectful, empathetic company you are, and how hard you're working to make this better for everybody. Remember that this is an economic cycle, and cycles go up and cycles go down. So we're going down, but it will go back up. That's the bottom line. It will go back up. You just have to realize that. The bottom line is that we are going to come out of this, and you want to be leading. And you must act now. Everything we've said today is about acting now. If, as our government has told us, we're going to come out of this absolute lockdown in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, then you need to be doing it now. You need to be times 10ing everything you do, everything times 10, times 10 working with your people, times 10 working and communicating with your clients, times 10 working with your prospects, communicating, showing them what you're doing, times 10 knowing your numbers. What do you have to do? Times 100 pivoting your business. Everything you do, divide it up by many, many times. How do I change this? What can I do? Look at the virtual world. There's nothing that we can't do on the virtual world. There's stories of, there's many stories about people doing fabulous things when they get the instructions online. You must act now. You must take control and be the positive force. To finish up, work with us or work with a coach to make your 90-day plan. I can't stress enough how you have to have a 90-day plan. You have to do everything to a plan. If you want, you can just make this the best thing you'll ever have done. Righto, right now, list 5 things you need to do today, to take action on it today. Write down 5 things you need to do to take action today. You know that this is what you should be doing. So take 5 things you need to do to take action today. Now, question and answer time. We have got a couple of questions coming up, so I'll get to those. Okay, the first question is, how do I deal with my staff if they don't want to do the training when they think they're on holiday? Oh, I've had that one before. Look, the bottom line is the government isn't paying the subsidies for your team to have a holiday. I mean, you've got to be empathetic and reasonable, but You need to approach it, in my opinion, the fact that, hey, to make our business better, to make your role in it better, we want to do this training, and this is how we think we should do this. And you need to be quite firm about this. You need to lead this and be a part of this. Don't expect your team to do it if you're not learning, if you're not doing it. Not suggesting you sit in on all the training. And don't be limited to what you ask your team. One of our clients, we got them to get all of their weight for this warehouse staff to write a couple of pages on what they thought the company could do differently from a marketing point of view. The feedback was amazing. We've also got one of our companies, a company in the construction industry. We've got all of them writing health and safety and procedure manuals for their machinery. The bottom line is these people want to be involved and they have so much knowledge. So use this knowledge, but you've got to work with them, be positive, respectful, and empathetic, but they're not on holiday. They're working from home, and make that quite clear. Another question is it a good time now to be investing in property? Look, I'm not a property guru, but interest rates have never been as low as they are. So that's maybe that's a lead. But I'd be talking to one of the specialist companies that I do try and get all of my clients to invest in property, because I find it to be a great thing to do. Third question. Yeah, interesting. How do you communicate with clients if they won't take your call? Interesting. So you'd have to ask yourself, if they're a client and they don't take your call, why they don't take the call. What I would do, just as a suggestion, is I would maybe suggest that you not only call them, but I'd send them emails, and in the email I'd say that you're going to call, and if they don't take the call, I'd probably send them an email saying, hey, you're concerned because you've called and they haven't taken the call, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's good. Look, we're finished here today, and I really have enjoyed the time. Thank you so much. At the Auckland Centre of Business Excellence, we've got some workbooks, COVID-19 90-day planning workbooks. We've got some spreadsheets that we're happy to send. If you want any of this stuff, look, just fill out the link below, and we'll get that to you. It's all free. Just want to give that to you. We've also got some fine writing on how to deal with your staff and some training and that sort of thing. If you want anything like that, just email us, either office at Auckland Centre of Business Excellence, ACBE.co.nz, or Kerry at ACBE.co.nz, and see how that goes for you. We're only too pleased to make that work and get that to you as soon as we can. So yeah, that's how that would be. Anyway, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm sure you've enjoyed and learned a lot, because I know we have. So let's be kind and be safe and be out there, but let's be good. Let's enjoy what we're doing. This is Kerry Wood from the Auckland Centre of Business Excellence. It's been a great day. Thank you very much.